As the 109th anniversary of the Battle of the Somme approaches on July the 1st, we find ourselves once again drawn to the haunting names etched in stone across northern France. On that single day, July the 1st, 1916, more than 19,000 British soldiers were killed and over 380,000 wounded in just a few hours. It remains the deadliest day in British military history, and yet, amid the cemeteries and names carved on the Footfall Memorial, one group is often overlooked: the wounded. The ones who made it off the battlefield but didn't survive the wounds they carried home. In this video, just ahead of the anniversary, I'm telling the stories of 3 men who survived July the 1st, only to die days later back in Britain. They didn't fall in no man's land, but they fell all the same. This is their story. George Sowerby, born in 1883, lived a quiet life in Carlisle. In 1912, he married Lucy Cant, and the same year they welcomed a son, George Jr. When war broke out, George enlisted with the 11th Border Regiment, part of the famous Kitchener's Army. In November 1915, he sailed for France and began their long routine of trench warfare. On the 1st of July 1916, George's battalion was ordered to assault the Leipzig redoubt, a brutal German stronghold near Footfall. At 8 AM, they went over the top, following the earlier waves of British troops. They managed to take part of the redoubt, but couldn't hold it. German counterattacks were fierce. Over 150 men from the battalion were killed. More than 300 were wounded. Among the wounded, George. He was evacuated to Brookwar Hospital in Woolwich, but on the 26th of July, he died of his injuries. He was 32 years old. His young wife, Lucy, never remarried. She lived until 1969, when she passed away at age 82. She was buried beside her husband, and they now lie together in Carlisle, Dalston Road Cemetery. A love reunited at last. Born in 1895, Charles Armitage Wooler had a future destined for brilliance. Educated at Sedbergh School, he excelled both academically and athletically, earning exhibitions to Cambridge University. But the war interrupted everything. Instead of taking up his place at university in 1914, Charles and his brother enlisted as privates. By 1915, both had been commissioned, Charles serving in the 10th West Yorkshire Regiment. That year, he was wounded at Lewes, but recovered and rejoined his battalion. Then came tragedy in March 1916. His brother, 2nd Lieutenant Herbert Sykes Wooler, died of wounds sustained at St Eloi. Just 3 months later, it was Charles's turn to face fate. On the 1st of July 1916, Charles's battalion advanced in 4 waves to assault Fricourt, a heavily fortified German village. The first waves made initial progress, but advanced too quickly, failing to fully secure the trenches they had taken. German troops emerged from deep dugouts, retook their lines, and opened fire. The result was disastrous. 22 officers and 750 men were killed, wounded, or missing. One of the heaviest losses suffered by any unit on that day. Captain Wooler was hit by a gunshot wound to the chest. He was evacuated to Woolwich Hospital, where at first doctors were hopeful. On the 20th of July 1916, Charles succumbed to his wounds. He was only 21 years old. 4 days later, he was buried with full military honours at Harrogate Cemetery. A life of promise extinguished by war. John Aspinall was born in Hunslet, Leeds in 1889, the son of Adam and Mary Ellen Aspinall. Before the war, he worked at the British Widows' Assurance Company and had a life of steady promise ahead of him. That changed when war was declared. John joined the 15th Battalion, West Yorkshire Regiment. better known as the Leeds Pals, a unit built from men of the same town, friends and neighbours in uniform. After training in Yorkshire and Wiltshire, John was posted first to Egypt, then to France in early 1916. There, the Leeds Pals prepared for what would become one of the most catastrophic attacks in British history. On the 1st of July 1916, the Pals advanced on Serre, a heavily fortified village. Before they could even leave the trenches, German artillery rained down. When the whistle blew at 7:30 a.m, they went over the top and straight into machine gun fire. The result was devastating. Of roughly 900 men, only 150 remained by the day's end. All 24 officers were killed or wounded. Among the many hit was John Aspinall, struck by shrapnel. He was evacuated back to England and taken to Netley Military Hospital in Southampton. But despite every effort, John died of his wounds on the 15th of July 1916 at 27 years old. He was buried with full military honours at Leeds' Harehills Cemetery. His coffin carried on a gun carriage draped in the Union Jack. His family chose the inscription, "He died, let us live worthily." Their grief deepened the following year, when John's brother Ernest Aspinall was killed in action in 1917. His body was never found. He is remembered on the Cumbria Memorial to the missing. When we talk about the Battle of the Somme, we often focus on the thousands who were killed in a single day. But there's another layer of loss, those who were wounded and brought home, only to suffer and die in silence. John, Charles and George didn't die in the trenches, but they still paid the ultimate price for their country. Their names deserve to be spoken, their stories deserve to be remembered. If this video moved you, please like, share and subscribe. Let's keep their stories alive, not just today, but always. Until every story is remembered and every story told, thank you for watching. Lest we forget. If you like listening to the stories of the history of those who came before, then please give the video a like and subscribe to keep updated about future videos of the history of those who came before.